but we've done so many different things in terms of like teamwork and get leadership and stuff like that. We did 3E last year, which was a phone app for the kids, and we taught it every Tuesday throughout the summer, and then we did stuff throughout the year as well. I just read a bunch of senior essays today, and that is the thing they remembered the most about the year. We made it to the state championship, but I'm telling you right now, reflecting on all those senior essays today, that scholarship essays, wow, it really hit me pretty hard about what we did off the field, which really made a difference to these kids. So continue to work on that, and that will take care of the rest, and winning will just be a byproduct. So today we talk about attacking formations with multiple formations. Obviously, we're very balanced. We pass the ball, throw, and run the ball. Any good football team in Wisconsin is going to, I would think, would be able to run the ball in November. We were out here and they were plowing 8 inches of snow off our field in level 4, and you know, so I think it's important to be able to obviously run the football, but I think it's important when you go against a team that's really a tough team, and they're very stout, to be able to throw the ball and mix it up and be very unpredictable, I guess. So when we're talking about this here, I got to get you guys out of my way here. We talk about what to consider when determining formations. You know, we look at what our personnel can do first. You know, our formations, we try to run every formation we possibly can. And Bobby, feel free to chime in at any time if you think of anything that I miss here. We have 22 formations that we used last year alone. You know, part of what we look at is, are we going against an even or an odd front? Are we going to go with a tight end or no tight end? What advantage does it give us? Is our tight end good enough? We had a sophomore tight end last year, pretty strong kid. We worked our way through a couple different tight ends, but, you know, some people say odd man front, bring the tight end in, even man front, you can leave the tight end at home, you know. So I look at that philosophy sometimes, and I use it at times, and we also use the tight end as a decoy sometimes too, in some RPOs that we use for them. So that just matters what you guys do. Can we manipulate the defense? Some teams are even and odd. Which one is weaker? You know, we went against a Marshfield team that's running an odd and an even front, and I look at what they were doing in their, you know, their even front, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, they're not as good as in their odd front as they were in their even front, and they're running a lot of different games with their linebackers and playing some good games, and they have some great speed. You know, let's keep them in their odd front. Let's go to formations that dictate odd front for the most part. Okay, so I think that plays a big role as well. Number of players in the box, can we gain an advantage with our formations? Coverages versus different formations, alignments of the defensive line. Now that we're sharing inside film and sideline film, is, you know the alignments of the defensive linemen, and we have all the tendencies, and we know exactly where they're going to line up for everything that they do in terms of, you know, in formations. Are they calling field strength? Are they calling tight end strength? And how are they calling their power? I think that, you know, you got to look at that, and that's what you're looking at all weekend long. Alignments and linebacker depth, and what you can do is, you know, getting not only linebackers out of the box, but how about those guys who are playing the alley and playing the outside, and your conflict players in your RPO? You know, what gives you the best and what puts them in the most conflict? You know, and that's what you got to try to dictate. Alignments of safety, those safeties, man, those safeties are always inching down and trying to play games and get into that run game and that weak side safety and all that. Not only RPOs, you know, that we can throw at them, but also just straight up alignments. Stunts, blitzes versus each formation. We find out that a lot of teams that we go against, they like to blitz and stunt when we run certain formations, and when we run other formations and we're in other types of spreads, or, you know, maybe even tight, that they're not blitzing at all, you know, and all those tendencies tell us that. And that's a great thing about, you know, having huddle and being able to break that down. And then we look at our protections. You know, we're trying to stay away from using hot reads, you know, if we can, and depends on if our quarterback is young or if he's, you know, he's well-tooled, if he's a senior, a one-year starter. Is, you know, what do we want to do? Do we want to have hot reads? You know, are we just going to use routes as reads and hots and all that? So that all matters. And then talking about how the D calls the strength, is it a field and all that, that makes a big difference. and then do we have enough run and pass plays to move forward. So basically, I kind of got this from Luca up in UW Oshkosh. Is, you know, we have duties that when we break on Friday night, we all have duties, and you know, the offensive line coaches are you know, they're going to break down all run and the run game and how we can pass protect everything and how we're going to run fit and everything for our game plan for the next week. Our quarterback coaches and our wide receiver coaches working on just pass plays and what they think we could do with play action and RPOs and pass plays. And then I'm kind of finding the balance between the two and helping out with both. And our running backs coach is helping on the run game as well. So we divide it up. And then we come together on Sundays and we throw everything up against, and we walk around the table and, you know, and what are we going to do for run? What formations do we like? What formations can we run the ball out of for this, you know, these plays? And so we throw it all up there. And if a formation doesn't give us enough on a Friday night, we might just be done with it for that. You know, we don't run 22 formations every week, but we have 22 formations available to try to break teams down. And sometimes on film, if we early in the season, we know what they look like in an open look, so we know what they're going to look like on a two-man surface, so we know what they'll look like on the other side as well, so we can kind of use just what they're doing and use it to our advantage versus two-man, one-man surfaces. You know, this is a situation here where, you know, we're playing on a mud field here, and we go into this game and they've never seen this before. And next thing you know, we're coming out is we're going to go against this odd man front. We're going to go double tight. We can read which way we want to go. And our guy back there, our wildcat wide receiver type guy, he's calling plays and he's just going with it. You know, we got 3 fullbacks in the backfield, and, you know, so we'll run this quite a bit. This is our beast formation. You know, we started off, we hadn't run this formation all year. We came out and ran it for the whole first half of this football game. And then at halftime, we went to something different because we know at halftime they were making their adjustments. So we wanted to be ready for that. Okay. So as a defensive coordinator, I was a defensive coordinator my first 7 years. Everything that we ever did first is, you know, I can't remember who told me this, but no matter what you're in, make sure you can stop option first. That's the number 1 rule of a defense. So we always look at how can we run option on a team right away. If we can get them in and dictate a formation to where we can run option and we can run speed option, we don't run dive option or anything like that, but we run speed option. We're going to take a look at this and see how they're aligned and see where their safeties are. And we're going to run option if it's there. Fullbacks are making calls, whether the tackle can go and what the tackle will do. Okay, so that's a situation where we're doing that. Now we're in a twins overlook. Okay, we're playing Fox Valley Lutheran here. Twins over formation. We got this guy aligned, okay, in pro formation, he's in here. He's over our tight end. He's inside the box. We can dictate him to be a little bit outside the box, and look at the difference that it makes. Okay. That's that same look. So we don't need to see that again. This is a championship game. Basically looking at the safeties in the box and create an 8 versus 6 up the middle, increase our chance for an explosive play. Okay, we're in a trips formation here. This is Waukesha West. They got 3 on our 2 out there. We're going to gain an advantage with they got 2 on 1 up here. Okay, with this guy, kind of the conflict player here. He's a little bit in conflict here, but they have advantage here. So we're just looking at gaining an advantage. We're looking at straight up ISO here. It's nothing special here. It's all about just running basic plays and gaining advantages in the box with numbers. And some people just show up every week and they run the formations that they run the plays that they run, and they do really well with that. You know, when we struggled here at Menasha, I believe it was great to struggle early on when I first started coaching because, you know, we had to work and scrape for everything that we did, and we had to look for every advantage we possibly could, and we couldn't just come up and show up and run formations and run plays. So we had to come up with 22 ways to beat somebody. All right, so here's how they, Xavier, we're going against here, and this is their pro formation. Okay, they're following our fullback around. They're doing all this stuff. So you got teams that are going to follow your fullback all around. Well, we got plenty of plays that our fullback's either a decoy or running opposite our fullback, or we're running counter away from our fullback. You got to have that. You know, that stimulus response, whatever the defense is doing, you got to be ready to come with something better, or at least have an answer for what they're doing. So once again, this is how the defense is handling our fullback. This is a poor play call. We're running speed option to the field, to the strength, everything. That was early on. It was actually a mixed up play call. And but I used it as a great example of what a terrible play call and putting your kids in a bad position. So then we end up going trips, take the fullback base essentially out here. We know that they're aligning to that. So now we're able to run this right here, gain an advantage. So we got trips to the boundary there. We know that they're playing defense to the strength, and we're able to run speed option to the field. Here's a situation where you're going to use the fullback now as a decoy, because they made the adjustment on trips, tray, and pro. And now the fullback goes opposite. Safeties are with him. They're in his back pocket. And that's great. So this is one of those situations where you're game planning, you know, going into a game, if you get in a tough situation, this is the last play before halftime. It's 4th down and 11 at Marshfield in their old stadium, terrible place to play for their visiting team. And we knew that in a 3-by-1 set, they're going to overload the 3-by-1, even to the boundary. And we run simple speed option here on 4th and 11. And we walk into the end zone just before halftime, a huge killer to them. Just another formation that we knew. We wouldn't have been able to do that in pro formation. Okay, but we knew we had that. Here's twins formation now. We know that we got the conflict player way out there. He's trying to play run and pass. Now we're just going to run weak side ISO and watch him get there late. Now we would RPO that and do a little bit more with it. That was a couple years ago. Looking at numbers again. Looking at your numbers. Okay. Count the box. Bob Schultz, Hall of Fame coach, DeSoto, coached at Menasha for a little bit. I coached with him. He was a true believer, and all you do is just draw a line right down the center and start counting numbers. He won a bunch of state championships counting numbers. But we got numbers out of the box there. We're able to hit it. Okay, it's our Panther formation. Love this stuff. Good running quarterback. Able to do this. Could have thrown the ball here, obviously, if he stopped right there. But he's reading numbers and reading the box. How am I doing on time?
No, I got it on mute. Whatever you need to do.
How am I doing?
You're getting close.
Okay.
2 more plays.
It's all about counting numbers. Quarterback counts as 1, 2. They got 2 guys where we're going to run the football. Okay, we're just counting numbers. It's 3 on 2. That was 4th down just before halftime again. Had to run with the quarterback the whole half. First play. Six in the box versus our 8. Okay, maybe not a great play, but just showing numbers again. You would see on there that if we just made one more block, we'd be, okay. Once again, we're going back here, state championship game this year. We got, I can't pull this back here. We're starting in an open left, 2-by-1. They got the field defense up here. Okay, they're aligning their 4-2 and their extra bonus guy to the field. Now we rotate back, we shift over. There's no change for them. We're gonna run to the boundary and overload the boundary. They got all these waist players up here. And we got numbers to the boundary. Can't be afraid to run to the boundary. Got to practice running to the boundary. It's different. If you're going to run speed option to the boundary, you need to run it and practice quite a bit throughout the week. Kid makes a bad cut, still gets away with it. This was against West Appear this year. I think it's important to have, we also put in 2 to 3 plays that nobody's ever seen each week. And we're hoping to hit on one of them. And this was one that we hit on. We knew that we could run the safety off and get a one-on-one with a linebacker. Okay? So that's important too. Here's another situation here where if you're looking at tray formation here, we're running weak side ISO here. If our quarterback, that's the advantage. We keep our fullbacks in the backfield. So we got a great advantage in that 3-by-1 set. Running weak side here. So now to take advantage of this formation completely, we got one-on-one on the backside. We're going to take a shot just before half. So these are all things that we just determine when we're talking about concepts that we're going to run. Are they undisciplined? What techniques? So then this would get into my second phase of this chat, and I don't really want to get into that because I'm probably at about time, right?
Yeah.
So I wish I had more time. We talk about concepts that work best in the game. We work on all different concepts, shuffle reads, lateral, vertical reads, for our quarterback, all that stuff throughout the week. We might never run mesh until week 5, but we'll work mesh every single day in practice. So just something
if any of you want this second part of this presentation, you can contact me or Korth and we'll send it to you.
All right, take care, fellas.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, Coach.